This episode is brought to you by Red Riding Hood, the manga-inspired take on the classic fairy tale for readers grades K through 2, written by Christina Oxtra. In Red Riding Hood, readers review the classic story in a brand new way, with twists in the story, more diverse characters, and featuring Japanese aesthetics incorporated throughout. Red Riding Hood is part of a series published by Capstone and written by various artists with unique takes on your childhood favorites. Look out for Red Riding Hood, available on Amazon and your local bookstores. Congratulations, Christina, on your first published book. The link is in the show description.
Hello everybody, welcome to Bosch Rush Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie B, the enlightened, excited one. I am so pumped and happy to be back. Yes, joining me, of course, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Yes, and the PC muscle race. I think that's what they call him on Crossroads.
Yeah.
I like to call him the Gunner Hunter himself, Mr. LeRon Dawkins. Hello, good sir.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday.
Yes, and our producer, bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick, is in the building also.
I am in my building called my house.
I like
will
to
actually look like you're in a cave of ice with
Oh yeah,
Where
my
where
Skype
someone's
picture.
about to snipe you or something.
My Skype,
Yeah.
my Skype background
Yeah, I
is
forget.
a Gears 5 background. People had no idea what you're talking about because
I always forget that only shows up on here.
Yeah.
I literally want to go back to Gears 5. I think it's when you're in the desert and it's that like big rocket thing that you're trying to get to, that level. Man, that environment looks beautiful. And I want to see it on my HDR TV. I just want to be like, oh, I want to more at this. Look, Series X is already gonna make it like gorgeous, Jesse. So I'm not even ready for that yet, but I can't.
Screw that. The RTX 3080 on my PC is gonna make that thing look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Because I do have Game Pass, and I did snatch that Gears 5.
Dude, I still marvel at when you play Monster Hunter World on PC, and I'm just like, good googly moogie, this game is gorgeous beyond gorgeous.
There are no graphical mods installed on my Monster Hunter game.
Yes, but how
Yeah,
you guys doing? Oh, go ahead, Jesse. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say because on console it looks like it looks outdated, like it's an outdated game. Something about the graphics. It just looks.
It's kneecapped, honestly. I mean, well, and I'm not even just talking about it's capped at 30 frames. There's just a lot of stuff that someone did a breakdown of the settings that you can do on the PlayStation Xbox versions versus the PC versions, and they said, look, all this stuff is in there in the native settings on the console games is just locked. You can't access them at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and well, it's because the console environment is it's honestly a nice place to be at because they try to make sure the experience is exactly the same for every single individual when you have a console system. So no matter if you have a Switch, an Xbox, a PlayStation, stuff like that, they try to make the developers try to make it the most seamless transition and the easiest way to jump on possible. It doesn't say they're dumbing it down. It just means that if all the games are playing the same exact way, there should be no problems. No individual person should have an issue with it, because if they have an issue with it, at that point, it's hardware and it's not the actual game itself. PC people, we just like to experiment and just maximum overdrive everything. So we go nuts. Oh, 144 frames? Yeah, let's do it. 4K on a 1080p graphics card? Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They see what they could push and what they could get away with, and it's completely amazing. But everybody, we're gonna get into some intro because LeRon, I know you got more to say, and I can't wait to hear it. This is episode 61 of the Boss Rush podcast. Each and every week, we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Games and bossrushgames.com to watch the show on your listen on podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. So go ahead, LeRon, go ahead and finish because I'm excited. I love having tech talk sometimes.
Actually, I pretty much got it all out. Not to be all anticlimactic. Pretty much. Yeah, that's mainly the main draws of it. The PC environment, and I will say this, and it's not even trying to boost up the PC Master Race or anything like that, because I'm not that guy. But the PC environment is the reason why there's console games. In all honesty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think now, and we're going to get into our gaming get down. I think now, I don't know if there's still a war of console versus PC. I think right now, console and PC is like united in a sense. In a sense that if you're playing the game on PC, there are going to be people rooting for you and love watching it. And if someone is playing on console, they're going to be rooting for them, because just bringing up Switch as an example, having PC and their console games, and you being able to cross play and cross save with some of the PC stuff. I'm like, that's so cool. Just like gamers nowadays are seeing what unifying themselves with everybody when it comes to games. It's just being respectful and happy about it. It shows the positivity of what gaming can do. There's no like, if you play games on PC, I'm rooting you all the way for PC. Whatever console you want to play, I'm rooting you on, because now we're in a point where we just love to play games and talk about them.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's and that's the thing is I've always looked at PC as it's definitely for people who want a certain kind of experience, right? Mm-hmm. They're to be able to experience, like LeRon was saying, with being able to just kind of tinker with things and try to kind of mess around with settings and all that stuff, and when I was gaming on PC, when DOS and when it was kind of early for people to be able to really have a nice PC that could play games and do stuff in your house. Mm-hmm. I started then, and then up until around the time when the 360 came out, I would game on PC for certain stuff or whatever, but now, as things kind of the two of them kind of help each other get better, because in the beginning, before we had actual computers, consoles were a thing, and then PCs were trying to do what the consoles were doing but couldn't quite do it in the early parts, but then it kind of that flipped around in reverse, and now it's the PC gets ahead, and then after that stuff has been out for a while, then we can expect it to be in the next generation of consoles, so it's, basically just kind of stays behind, but for good reason, because obviously, if they were to try to put that new graphics card in these new consoles, they would cost probably $2,000 or something, to buy them. But
yeah, and definitely when there was different formats, like PC had their disk drive, and then when it's a CD base, where consoles were still doing cartridges, and everything, and so different genre of games. Because for a lot of people looking at PC, you would, in the early days, you would think of first-person shooters, where consoles kind of had everything else in a sense. And now that the format has kind of changed, You can pretty much play anything, anywhere, or anytime, which we're going to be discussing a little bit later on. But we got to get into our gaming get down. And Jesse, I'm going to start with you. What one game have you been getting down to? And yes, I will stick to one game because I know I will get talk to me like, Ed, you said one.
Okay, well,
give me that look.
What? I didn't do anything.
All right.
I'm drinking water.
Can we just do two? Like, because one of them is gonna be really short. Yeah. The other one, I'm just gonna be mentioning that I played it. So yeah, I tried the Tony Hawk game the other day, and I only actually this morning. Yeah.
Oh, you bought it digitally? Okay.
Yeah, I got the deluxe one with like the extra stuff or whatever. But yeah, like I only put a little bit of time, maybe 20 minutes into it. So yeah, I'll get back to that. But the main game that I played, well, there's two, but the one that I played the most was I did fire up the last campfire finally.
Yes.
I had bought that like at the beginning of the week or maybe end of last week, and I just didn't get to it yet. But so I started playing that, and I really like that game a lot. It's not difficult. Well, I mean, I guess some of the puzzles could be difficult if, depending, it really depends on if it just kind of clicks with you right away or not, but the puzzles are definitely very doable and pretty simple, I feel like, so far to figure out. But this game, it's almost kind of somewhat reminds me of like Toad Treasure Tracker. And I said, like, in our message, our chat, that it's kind of like a mix between that and like the Gardens Between.
Yes.
But I actually think it's more like it's also got like almost a Zelda-ish kind of feel to it, where like when you're in the world that you're playing in, it's very zoomed in on your character, but like all the like stuff around you, like like all the rocks and all the different things that kind of create the world are just really good looking. Like it kind of similar to how I felt when I played Minecraft Dungeons the first time, where everything, like anything that's kind of lights up is just a very vivid, really cool looking light textures, and then like everything else kind of just looks really nice, even though it's it's not like going for the ultra realism or anything.
Yes.
So yeah, like, and I'm really enjoying it. I did have some buggy kind of issues with it, but it wasn't anything really bad. It was just like when I'd climb up an area that's like, like a ladder. It's not really a ladder. It's like you're climbing up rocks, rock formations on the side of a cliff to get up to the top part. Like I had where when I got up to the top as I was climbing, I kind of clipped through the ground and then appeared up on the ground, like where I was climbing to. Like it was like that that animation just like messed up, where instead of me climbing up that last step to climb on top of it, I just kind of glitched up on top. And that's not really it's not really great. Hopefully they fix that, but at the same time it wasn't game breaking or anything. It just it just didn't look good. It, kind of bringing it out of the experience a little bit for just a second. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and just the atmosphere, like I said, and everything is just really cool looking. I love the art style. Like so far, the story that they're kind of telling, is interesting enough. I'm hoping it kind of goes somewhere more as time goes on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm really loving it. So,
Like I said, it's on my.
and I did. Oh,
Oh no, I was
so,
just saying it's on my list to get. I'm gonna get it like in 2 more weeks. Yeah.
yeah, and like I had said to you too, that I was kind of surprised there was like no, like when I bought it, there was no reviews. It had no rating, nothing, and I feel like it had been out for a little while already.
So when they showed it at that Nintendo Direct, that's when they dropped it because it didn't have no announce date or anything for any of the consoles. They just literally said available today, and that's when I think PlayStation and Xbox got theirs too. They just literally dropped it without no plan, and that was more on Hello Games than anybody else.
Yeah, so I mean, like I had listened to, I believe it was either the guys on, I think it was the guys on MinMax that did talk, or someone I remember listening to a podcast where they did talk about it finally, but like I hadn't heard anything about it otherwise. Like there was only like 1 or 2 people that on those shows that I listened to that actually played it. So
Spiritfarer kind of took over the talk over the last campfire. So
yeah, see, and that's the thing is like I do want to try that game as well, but the last campfire is definitely more of my kind of game compared to that. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, it like I say, like I think it was $15.
Yeah, it's 15.
So I mean, I think it's a great experience so far. So if that looks to be something that you would be interested in, I definitely would say give it a shot. Like I said, there were some buggy little issues, but again, it didn't really break the game or cause any issues so far. So, but
all right. Corey, what games have you been getting down to, or what game you getting down to?
Boy, not much, honestly. Not really much of anything. I've been really busy this week trying to get some stuff done. I know, Ed, you and I always talk about, oh, you're doing a lot. You're doing it to yourself. I'm like, yep, sure am. But I mean, the only game I've really played this week is Destiny. I got Xenophage, which was the Jesse, you saw me and Mitch have Xenophage when we played on last Saturday.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just this really powerful, like, slug shooting heavy machine gun, and it's just it's stupid how powerful this gun is. Like, we were taking out mini bosses in 2 shots instead of like wasting whole clips on them. We were just it was stupid. So that's kind of it, really. Destiny.
Any more progress in Windbound, or you still on hold?
No, like I said, I have not really done a whole lot. I've been working with the PlayStation team to get a logo done, and Logan is making some intros for us and everything. So it's just been busy computer work. Redid the website again because I'm dumb. So yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I really haven't been playing any games the last week and a half. To be honest with you, I wish I was. I really wish I was, but I just haven't been. So.
All right, LeRon, what game have you been getting down to?
I'm in the same boat as well. Like, I've just been coming back from recovering from a leg injury for the past couple of weeks and stuff, and like I was in so much pain that I told the guys last week on Boss Rush podcast that I didn't have the mental focus to be able to concentrate on playing a game because of how bad I was hurt and stuff like that. But I have started doing a little bit of catch up. Logan and Nelly are happy that I finally started, like tinkering with Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm playing I'm playing the actual the complete version on the PC, and also my friend Vicky, she will kill me. She'll kill me if I don't say this, but yes, I finally started The Last of Us 2. I just turned it on. I played the very beginning of the intro. I haven't even gotten that deep into it, but now the game that I came over to your house and borrowed from you, I'm actually playing it now.
Get ready for an experience.
Oh yeah, but other than that, like I've been focusing on getting back into curating my Twitch and YouTube stream channels because there's some things that I've been looking at some of my older stuff and I was like, you know what? And yeah, my channels are brand new, so like why am I being all hypercritical right now given that they're barely like 6 months old and stuff like that? But it's one of those things that I want to have less headaches going into the future. Because I want to do like everybody else does, like start like seasons where like it's like a 9-month schedule, and then they take a couple months off, and then season 2 or season whatever starts up and stuff like that. And I want to be able to like just come back with really fresh stuff. So
Sounds
yeah, that's
nice.
been yeah. So you and I are both been like banging our heads against the keyboards and stuff like that because Adobe After Effects, hooray! Yeah, fun.
Yeah, I've been trying to sit down to do some After Effects stuff, and I need like a 5-hour window where I can just sit and learn like all this stuff at one time. I can't just take 20 minutes to learn what I need to learn. Like I think you and I were talking like you looked at these tutorials for like 2.5 hours to do something that took you 20 minutes because all you wanted to do was make a circle.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I actually wasted all this time online and had to go to bed and went to bed and slept on it and came back the next day looking at 2 more.
That.
No, it wasn't even like that because I never learned the actual technique from the videos, the YouTube videos I was watching. I was just like, you know what? I need to figure out what this is, and I just clicked every freaking key on the keyboard until I got it, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is all it was? It was barely a shortcut. That's how quick it was."
Wow, that's me and you, Jesse. When you making the beat, and me, you go back and forth trying to perfect it and everything. I'm like, okay, I hear this.
And there's the other thing too. I gotta start getting ready to make audio clips and stuff. Oh my god, it's just boy, you know what? No one told me building a Twitch and a YouTube channel was this involved.
You didn't ask.
I thought you literally just got it on click clack a couple buttons and hey, my game is being played online.
Technically, yes, but yeah, if you want to actually have a little bit more following, you got to do more.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, just like I celebrated the other day. Like I finally got over 50 followers. I'm almost nice. Affiliated on Twitch. Now I just gotta get viewership up. And I guess the best way to get viewership up is to actually like stream.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Well, for me, just quickly, I finished Ghost of Tsushima. The review is coming soon. The game, yes, the game I'm focusing on is Paper Mario, the Origami King, because I want to get that review together. And once again, it's good. It's a good nomination for Game of the Year. I think. I really wanted to ask y'all for a topic, but I think I'm gonna do this next week. Are we ready to get our Game of the Year stuff ready, or do we wait to actually Cyberpunk?
You gotta wait till like December at least.
Yeah. You know, that's one of the things that makes me so mad about the Game Awards. Like they will just throw anything in the Game of the Year category, even if it's only been out for like 7 days.
Yeah, because like when Tetris Effect got nominated, no disrespect to Tetris Effect, but I'm like, wait a minute, that game just came out. Why is it getting a nomination for all of these things? I'm like, and there was other games like that came out in the spring and summer that didn't like get anything.
Honestly, it's my major gripe about the Game Awards show. It seems like at the end of the day, it's basically fanboyism and fan service. Like, I mean, even going back to the very first program when they had Samuel L. Jackson, being the moderator and the host for it. But I want to circle back to the Paper Mario as a contender for Game of the Year for a second. There, are you saying across all consoles or just for Nintendo?
For Nintendo and across all consoles.
Because I'm hearing Paper Mario got poorly reviewed by a lot of people.
It's gotten really good reviews. Everything I've read,
it got a lot of good reviews. What's been happening is that the Metacritic thing, people because it was.
Oh, I know. I never pay attention to Metacritic. I already know.
They was reviewed by me Paper Mario. Because they did the same thing they did to Paper Mario, they did to The Last of Us Part 2. It was like they was
Resident Evil.
And Resident Evil. So a lot of games that a lot of people really know that are good and the talking stuff is good. The people were going by Metacritic because of the review bombing. Like
it's sitting at a 79 on Metacritic.
Mm-hmm.
Overall? Yeah.
Oh, not the wait. Is that the Is that the user or rating or the?
No, it's the critic scores.
Critic scores
based on 105 critic scores. It's sitting at a 79.
A 79 is not good.
But the thing about it is that a lot when it came out, a lot of people have just been laughing and loving it and talking about like a lot of people it was an on and off thing because they was doing Paper Mario and Ghost of Tsushima. They was going back and forth.
I think a 79 is good. It doesn't mean it's great, but it's good. It's in the green.
I feel like any game that if we want to use Metacritic, the critic scores, not the user ratings. If we want to use Metacritic as a metric, I say like your game has to top an 88 to get into that contendership because that.
Oh well, that's like there's only like 10 games ever made that are good enough for you.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those. What's the old term? It separates the men from the boys. You know, like I mean, and yeah, like. We're getting to a point where it doesn't seem like millions and millions of games are being released nowadays. Well, I feel like at the start of the PS4 and Xbox One generation, like we didn't start seeing, you know, we stopped seeing like massive amounts of games coming out year by year. So now with this, I'm just gonna throw a round number out here. I know it's completely off, but let's say 25 games are released in a year. Out of those 25, let's say. Let's keep it simple. Out of those 25 games, 10 games wind up, getting like a phenomenal score on Metacritic. You know, like those should automatically be the ones that run the gamut for getting Game of the Year. Whereas the other ones, like unless. There's a reason why these games are scoring so low.
Well, right now, if I had to just make an assumption, and people might disagree with this, each system right now have 2 games that's Game of the Year nomination. So Xbox has Flight Simulator and the Will of the Wisp 2.
Not Flight Simulator.
Hold on.
Flight Sim is sitting at a 96 on Metacritic, by the way.
Wait. Is that on Xbox?
It's on PC. It's coming. It's going to launch on Xbox when Series X comes out.
Yeah. Okay. But for Microsoft, it's those 2 games because Flight Simulator just got like a lot of 10s across the board, like crazy. For PlayStation, it's the Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Pretty much for Nintendo at this time, it would be Paper Mario and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
What about Animal Crossing?
Right, I feel like Animal Crossing it made Animal Nintendo's
Crossing,
year.
Yeah. I think Animal Crossing would be it. Animal. I think I was trying to. Oh, go ahead, LeRon.
Oh, I was about to say that's the other thing too. Some, like ultimately, you got to look at the entire, you got to look at the entire. Basically, it's the sum of all the parts. Like you got to look at certain things. Like what's the content? Like how's it moving units? How to do overall based on everything. I feel like Animal Crossing. Like I said, I feel like Animal Crossing made the year for Nintendo. In all honesty, as a matter of fact, Animal Crossing probably made Nintendo the top dog for this year.
Well, it was very. That's why it was weird, and we're gonna get into our mini boss segment.
What?
It was really weird that just outside of Animal Crossing, that Switch sold out first before Xbox and PlayStation.
I mean,
when quarantine was happening.
To me, it's like I just go by. Like if I think the game looks fun, I'll play it because like. Paper Mario's at a 79 and Animal Crossing's at a 91 on Metacritic, and Animal Crossing sucks to me. And Paper Mario's way better than Animal Crossing. So I mean,
I can agree with that sentiment already because I mean Animal Crossing, like if I'm gonna play something like that, I'm just gonna grab The Sims.
And Jesse, I'm not knocking Grounded at all. to let you know, because I think for me personally, I want grounded, but I think I want more patches and stuff to happen.
Well, it's an
because I
early
wanna be able-
access, though. I mean,
It's an early
not
access
even a
game.
full
It's not a
yet.
full game.
Yeah, like that's why, like, I as much as I joke about that, like right now, that's probably my favorite game of the year.
Mhm.
It's also not a full game yet, so
I think you're
fine
only
with
playing
it,
like
because
what, 30% of the game, 40% of the game.
30% now, maybe. No, not even. It was when it first came out. It was only 20% of the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
And-
I think they've added it a little bit, but it's probably only like 25% now or something.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that because I'm not discounting that game, because I know
No.
that's like
No,
that's your
I am. I'm discounting it because it's not finished. So
right. And so I
But-
just wanted to make sure, because like when we think of that's just mostly
that's the
first
thing, though.
party stuff.
We've always like the way we do Game of the Year, or have in the past. We've always done it based on like what we
Personally, think.
like what we personally think. Like I just don't pay attention to ratings or reviews or anything like that, barely ever, because like if I went by what reviews were, I would have missed out on playing a lot of games I love.
Right.
So
right.
that's why I like that we kind of do our own thing when it comes to Game of the Year.
And
Because if you want those like more corporate style ones, you can listen to every other podcast.
and that's why like
you don't have
like,
money to buy every single
when
game either, and play every single game that comes
That's
out.
why when I go by social media, I usually go what people are talking about and what they're playing, what they're liking and stuff. So
Yeah.
if there's, and that's why I said earlier with like you just unifying games, people love us just playing games, and that's that positive aspect for it.
Yeah.
People are loving the Avengers. Some people are making
Yeah.
Avengers one of their Game of the
which
Year
I'm
nominations.
I'm
So
glad.
if
I'm
they-
glad that people are enjoying that game,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it really looked like it was going to be such a failure. But I'm
everybody
glad that it's
like
Mhm.
all the talk leading up to launch was like how crappy the game looked and how crappy the game played, and like
Yeah.
it just looks
Yeah.
bad. Like, how are they going to balance this stuff? And like from everything I've heard, like the gameplay aspect of it, a lot of them they fixed a lot of stuff, like just the feedback on the controller, even issues like that. Some of the story stuff they fleshed out that wasn't even in the beta. Like they fleshed a lot of that stuff. Now the end game stuff, I've heard people are still like, it's not great, but it's still fun to run around with your friends and play the game, which is like the whole idea of the game, is to run around and play with your friends. So I'm glad to see that there was a turnaround there, and it's actually
definitely.
piqued my interest in like, oh, maybe in a couple weeks or something, maybe I'll get the Avengers and play through the story, and maybe we'll play a couple multiplayer stuff or whatever.
Like I said,
Well-
I would wait for a sale for it.
Yeah,
me,
well,
personally,
yeah.
because-
But
Yeah,
Oh,
my
only
roommate-
because
my roommate's been playing for the last day and a half, and him and his buddies, he took half a day off yesterday to play the game, and yesterday was a Friday.
Wow.
I was like, wow, like you pulled yourself away from work to play a game, and then you've been up all night playing it. So I mean, there's something good about this game because people think I'm a snob when it comes to games. This guy's a snob.
Yeah.
Wow.
He
Well,
will.
the thing,
He will tell
the
you
thing-
fast. He will tell you fast. The game is trash.
the last thing I wanted to say is like what Corey said. The whole end game thing. It's like tell me a games with service that ever had the end game thing correct from day one. From release. I mean, it just doesn't
Anthem.
happen. That's kind of something they've got to build to.
Oh.
Well,
I heard that.
Well,
Shade.
if
Murray, shade.
I mean, but
if the end game was to make the game better, then you are correct.
they're still working on that, by the way.
You know what? You call it shade, but did he lie?
I mean,
To be fair, I wanted to really love Anthem, and I didn't.
I'll be honest, I still do. I do love Anthem, but it's like I don't play games though like Destiny and stuff. I don't play those games quite for that end game stuff. For me, those are just fun games to just kind of do do what you do in the world and kind of have that time to just play it. I don't, so for me, Anthem was perfectly fine because I don't care about that and stuff.
That's why I give props to Destiny for their end game for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I didn't play it. I think the end game for Destiny 2 was better than the first one in a sense. And I still think with the stuff that Destiny 2 is doing with their end game stuff and additional content, it's just fantastic.
Man, Destiny left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth that all of a sudden, like I was playing Monster Hunter, and all of a sudden I see an influx of new players, and they're all coming over from Destiny, and I was like, was Destiny that bad? And they're like, no, Destiny was that boring.
Yeah, well, I think when Monster Hunter came out, when did Monster Hunter World come out?
2018 February,
right before Forsaken came out, which is when they added all the stuff into Destiny 2 that people like. Okay, because I remember a lot of my friends went to Monster Hunter and like, we're not playing Destiny because what are we doing? Like,
hey,
yeah.
And like I told LeRon about this, and when we do our history of Monster Hunter, I was just like, I think because of Monster Hunter on Nintendo's platform, and definitely Monster Hunter 4, everybody jumped to World like that in a heartbeat. And like you said, LeRon, World, it's hard to go back to those older games because of World. Mm-hmm. It literally is.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to get into our mini boss talk. I'm going to skip the first discussion because Corey answered it kind of in a way that I was just like, oh, they did? Oh, okay.
What?
The free-to-play Rocket League one.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the... So just to tell everybody, like the topic was Rocket League's not going to require Nintendo Switch Online or PSN. What do you call it? PlayStation Plus to play.
Yeah, and it was more of, can we see more of this when games that when they charged you when they came out and then decided to go free to play, would they be dropping more of the online service that you guys the subscription base and stuff? Because like Xbox, you still have to have Xbox Live in order to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's just it's weird though, because like to me it's like if you own these consoles, like unless you're like super casual, like a lot of people that are like semi into games at all have PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, right? Like it just makes sense if you have these consoles, you have that service. It just Switch is like whatever. You go either way, right? Like
and I think because of the price of Switch Online being so cheap, $20 a year, like that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but they don't. They're not really.
They still haven't.
Outside the functionality,
they haven't used my $20 a year to fix their online service.
Ooh.
So.
Well, the thing is too, like that. Like with Nintendo, you can still play games directly off of the console or whatever without having to be connected to the internet. So like, like
unless you have two switches.
That's true.
But I'm
so
I'm
it's you don't
outside,
really need that.
I'm talking about online. More of outside the functionality, like the talking and all the discounts and all of that stuff. Like, not discounts.
Here's the thing: the only game
stuff that people expected.
The only two games I've ever played that work on Nintendo Switch Online are Fortnite and Tetris 99. Those are the only two games.
I knew he was gonna say. I knew it was those two because those are the only ones I ever hear people talking about when they say Switch
Smash
Online.
Online is terrible. It's awful. Smash Online's terrible. Mario Kart Online's terrible. Everything Nintendo does online is terrible. Like I love my Switch, right? I love playing Nintendo games, but their online stuff is atrocious. It's just terrible. They need to fix it. I don't care if they I pay the $20 a year for the retro stuff and the games that they're putting on their online service for free, and like the free bundle packs that they offer for Nintendo Switch Online users for extra Smash spirits and Mario Kart stuff, right? Like they offer that kind of stuff, and it's nice, it's cool, but like actually playing the games online is atrocious, and I refuse to play anything through Nintendo Switch Online.
And I understand that, and like I said, I'm like I think this has more to deal with Japan's decision than America's decision.
It doesn't.
No,
Nintendo's servers are here.
I mean,
it doesn't.
But I'll say
Ed's going to sit here and argue, and we're going to run in circles. What's the next topic?
No, I would just say that because of what they do in Japan, than what they do here in America.
But it doesn't matter.
know how-
Nintendo of America runs the service here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was but I thought Japan made
No.
the decision.
No.
Or it was their I would say their infrastructure. I should have
No.
said that.
No.
Okay. You know what?
Let's ask
actually,
the tech guy.
I don't want to. Oh, well, I wasn't going to get into. I wasn't going to get into brass tacks about the brass tacks about the tech on that. What I am going to say is like Nintendo's been making missteps with their online since they started the whole online thing. And I'm not just talking about the Switch. I'm talking about the Wii U. I'm talking about the Wii. I'm talking about the GameCube. You know, like they've been making these missteps. You know, and it's really. I want to say it's not just frustrating. It's also sad because they've had 4 different console cycles to get this thing right, and Nintendo still seems to drop the ball. I mean, friend codes are great, but you know what? Pete, when I talk to a lot of my friends who have a Switch or have had a DS or anything like that, they say they would rather prefer that there was an actual a system where you can give yourself a gamer tag or player ID and not be confined to this one thing that's already restricted.
It's exactly what Microsoft does, right? There's an underlying, like everybody is assigned an ID number, but on top of that ID number, you can have your gamer tag, which is why it took so long for PlayStation Network to allow you to change your name because, like, instead of doing what Microsoft does is have that number attached to your name and then have a screen name attached to that number. PlayStation used the name directly, and then therefore you couldn't change your name until very recently, which is still like a broken mess because anything before 2018 you can't quote unquote might not work or break your leaderboards or delete your trophies or whatever. So
and I think Nintendo still has their idea of playing with another person by you, or playing like the local play. Like if I'm going to a friend's house, we'll play that.
Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with ad hoc.
You can have both.
There's nothing wrong with. Yeah, you can have both.
Right. But that's
the 3DS has better online than the Switch does.
That's the truth.
And that's why I say I think Nintendo still is in that mind frame of you playing with actual people right there and not online.
Here's what I'm saying. Nintendo has forgotten how to make a good console. Like when they put their focus on the Switch being a portable system, that won a lot of accolades and everything. Like it even got me to turn around and say, "Oh, I'm going to buy a new Nintendo console" because I hadn't bought anything since the Wii. But the problem is that they're not even paying attention to some of the things that made like the 3DS and the Game Boy Advance like wonderful systems, you know, and also incorporated into everything they've done with their consoles. And that's the problem. It's like they think the portability factor is enough to get them over the top with the Switch. They also think that having certain games is going to get them over the top. I mean, and this goes back to the discussion we had where like first-party Nintendo titles never drop in price. Like I'm kicking myself because I just missed a sale, and I just missed a sale, and one of the games I was looking for, I can't remember what it was, dropped to $30, and I missed it because it was like a 4-day sale, and I didn't even know the sale was going on.
Yeah, that part they'll have to get fixed. But we're gonna move on to the next one. Witcher 3 comes to Series X and PlayStation 5. Mario Collection and Super Mario 3D is also coming to the Switch. Will old titles continue to play a part for consoles, and how effective are they? And the reason why I'm bringing this is because we are seeing more. We are seeing ports of old games coming, and definitely with smart delivery playing a part and stuff with it. Do we think that still, past games will continue to play a part for these systems?
Here, let me go first, so I don't wind up being the argumentative one here. I think yes. I say yes. Old titles will continue to play a part in it. I feel like there is going to be it's going to start getting really smaller and smaller, though. I mean. There, when we have games like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's still rumors about the Mass Effect trilogy, which is going to be great for a lot of people.
And before you go on, LeRon, this doesn't have anything to do with backwards compatibility. This just
no.
This just has to do with old games being re-released again for these systems. Just want to make that clear for this discussion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wasn't even talking about like backwards compatibility. My whole thing is like, we're gonna see more of the old titles coming out. Just because the simple fact is they, to pull that quote from Resident Evil 3, it prints money. it prints money, and it also pushes systems. Let's be honest. We kind of had a round about this on Thursday night after the direct, but the Mario 3D collection, that's gonna knock Wii's off the shelf. Switches off the shelf. I'm sorry. Stuff like that. The Witcher 3. In all honesty, a lot of people have already played The Witcher 3, but there are still opportunities for more people to play The Witcher 3, and if it's actually getting optimized for these systems the way it's supposed to, it's going to elevate the experience, and it's going to have people double dip. I've already bought The Witcher 3 like 3 times. I'm done buying it. I'm not buying it for PS5. But
yeah, I have I have it on Xbox One and Switch, and I'm like, well, my Xbox One version is going to get updated to the Series X version, but like we discussed, I think I said something in the chat, due to life circumstances and, whatever, I'm just going to keep playing on Switch because it's literally the only way I'm ever going to finish this game if I ever do. So.
And people have finished The Witcher on Switch, and they're fine with that version. They got the experience.
It's a neat version of the game. It is a technical marvel that game even exists on that console.
Yeah, it was impressive because I saw someone playing it with my own eyes, and I was like, man, I need to stop slacking and resume my PC version.
It's I booted up the Xbox One X version, and it looks great. Like the One X version looks amazing, but then I turned on my Switch version in handheld mode. I'm like, yeah, it looks noticeably worse, right? Like it's not in 4K. It doesn't have the texture packs, right? Like the grass pops in and there's significantly less trees and stuff around, but
it plays perfect.
It's perfect, right? Like it plays perfect. Like the character models, like the main character models, I'll say look great. Geralt looks great. It's just the Switch version, right? Like CD Projekt knows how to scale that, and Saber knows how to port games. So.
Jesse, what is your thought about that?
Yeah, I think there's still overall there's still a lot of great, amazing games that have come out over the years. Even way back, in PlayStation 2 era and things like that, and with PlayStation 5. They kind of said that they're the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games aren't gonna be backwards compatible. That hopefully means that at least they'll take some of those really great games that we loved and get them remastered or redo them I've said multiple times, I would absolutely love to see Parasite Eve get the Resident Evil 2 treatment and redo that game and just, bring it back in all of its glory. Cause that is still to this day, Resident Evil 2 and the Parasite and Parasite Eve are one of my favorite games from those consoles. So
the funny thing about Parasite Eve is that it's very niche.
It is, but
you can make something that's niche into something super popular. Look at Monster Hunter, perfect example, right? Okay, it's popular in Japan. Here, it was very niche. I know I have friends that really loved Monster Hunter, but not a lot, right? But now, I would look at Monster Hunter World's their best-selling game of all time. Best-selling game of all time. They turned this niche title into the best-selling game of all time.
15.5 million copies sold. That is
that's nothing to see. You can do it.
Their legacy titles like Street Fighter never even sold that many copies.
And you gotta admit that even though the game is on 2 systems, people were happy to buy.
PC.
When it originally first came out, it was on 2 systems before PC.
No. The PC version was announced at the same time that the console versions were announced, but the PC versions were being developed by a secondary team so that they had time to focus on getting the game out on time.
And then when it came out, it jumped more sales.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying when it first came out that it had it had a huge selling thing just on those two consoles alone. So yeah, and because like when PS1 had Final Fantasy 5 and Chrono Trigger, I was buying that game just for Chrono Trigger.
Yes,
even though I played it on
I didn't even care about Final Fantasy 5.
But the thing about it is, I've never played Final Fantasy 5 because they never brought it to America. That was the only way that you could play that game, was buying the PS1. And I think just bringing these old titles and remastering them, I'm trying to say
remaking them or whatever.
No, modernizing them.
Modernizing, yes. It really showed that these games that people miss are willing to spend the money to get them, or if they didn't get them in the past and it wasn't their thing, they was just like, you know what, it's coming on and this is my chance to get it, play it in the best way. So
this is going to a conversation that we had online, you and I, we were in our Twitter chat.
Yeah.
Okay, Nintendo, I'm going to give you the best way that you can actually dominate the PS5, Xbox Series X console life. Open up your backlog of your GBA and DS games and port them over to the Switch. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I bought Chrono Trigger on the Super NES. Spent $80 for that game when it was on a cartridge. I bought it again when they put it on the PlayStation Collection for $40. I bought it again when they put it on the DS.
Yes, yep.
Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games. If they if Squaresoft wants to do anything, like if they modernize Chrono Trigger and put it on these new systems, they will. Squaresoft will have the same success that Capcom had with Monster Hunter. But all I'm saying is, Nintendo, you have GBA titles like Metroid Zero Mission and Fusion that are just
I already said
waiting.
Would you said that, I put it on Twitter. I'm like, I need this collection.
They're gonna have a Game Boy Virtual Console at some point.
If Square Enix is going to do Parasite Eve, I need them to give me iHander.
Oh yes.
I need to give me
Vagrant Story.
Goodness, what is that game? Dang it.
I guarantee if they would just put Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, Nintendo Switch Online stuff like the way they do NES and Super NES this holiday.
Yes.
It would,
and it's not hard because the Game Boy Advance architecture is based off the SNES. It's not hard.
Yeah. So I mean,
go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, those games are like, a lot of those games are games that like, I wasn't a huge handheld gamer growing up, right? Like I had all the Game Boys and whatever, but like, I'd rather sit in front of a TV and play the games, right? Like, that was just me, and like the Game Boy was something I would take with me if we were going somewhere in the car, and I would just tag it along with me, right? Like I would play Tetris and Super Mario Land, and maybe probably Ninja Turtles actually for the most part.
Just imagine getting Advance Wars 1 and 2.
Oh yes,
like you could even
just imagine.
Like you could even like I think the touchscreen stuff on the DS stuff would be hard to pull off unless you only have it in handheld mode, but like, other than that, you could, well, I guess you could do like the Joy-Con, like you'd have to do like motion control Joy-Con stuff to act as a stylus, but.
So there you go, Nintendo. I just gave you the idea, and I'm not even going to charge a finder's fee for it. There you go.
Just because you got happy, you was about to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like. The thing is with all of this, like I'm always in just because of the like for me it's about the preservation of these games moving forward. Like like a lot of the games that they'll that they could bring back may not be something I'm super interested in, but like as a whole, I just want these games to be able to exist moving forward. Like that's why, like with with the backwards compatibility with Xbox, it might not be something that you personally are going to care about or use that much, But for me, that's not the point. It's like the point is just having that there if you want to be able to, like play those games looking better, and on newer consoles and stuff like that,
and the thing is like with what they're doing with Super Mario 64, right? They're not doing anything special with it. They're up-resing it a little bit. They're cleaning up some of the texture work, and they're porting it. They're not like I, as disappointed as I am. I wanted Mario 64 in the Odyssey engine super bad, but I mean, they're not doing that, and like honestly, it's not going to deter me from playing that game again because Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time, right? That N64 really kind of was the system that was like, okay, I'm going to be playing games for the rest of my life, right? And they could do that till like some of the rumors going around right now is Fire Emblem Fates. The Fire Emblem Fates trilogy is going to get an HD port to the Switch. Link Between Worlds is going to get an HD port to the Switch. Like even if they just like with the DS stuff that LeRon was saying, like you could do small tweaks, small things to better handle. It's not going to be every game, right? It can't. It physically can't be every game. But like you could take new Super Mario Brothers, for example, on the DS, and you could take away that bottom screen. You could move those items to like a select menu, right? If you just press select and it'll bring up the items, right? You could port that game to the Switch, no problem. You could port some of these DS games without the second screen with a little bit of work, right? And LeRon, you stepped away, but what I was saying is like the DS games, they could take away that bottom screen with a little bit of work and just add that to a select menu, right?
Or actually, in a lot of cases, because like Monster Hunter Stories came out on the 3DS, and that was
I love that game so much.
An amazing game, and like a lot of the touchscreen features for that game, like it's simply like just a toggle thing,
or even look at Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. That made the move from 3DS to Switch with very little effort.
Yeah. The crazy part is a lot of times, like in my opinion, and this is not really to talk bad about the 3DS, is because in my opinion, a lot of times the touchscreen was more of a gimmick than anything else. A lot of games necessarily didn't need the touchscreen. Like for example, Super Mario 64 on the on the DS and 3DS, like it didn't need the touchscreen at all. Right, yeah.
But, and the thing about it is, because like when we think of just remakes in general, the only two series that have got it has been the Mario games, and that's mostly been the NES ones, because we have Mario All Stars, and then we got Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Samus Returns. Both of those are remakes of the first and second game. Those are only two. Those are out of all of the Nintendo franchises. Well, Fire Emblem, the one that never came to America. That was was that Fate? No, that wasn't Fates.
It was Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
It was one of them that came to 3DS because it was on the Famicom in Japan, and they remade it and it came to 3DS.
Fire Emblem Valencia. It's 2. Fire Emblem 2.
Yeah, those are kind of the only thing that I can remember of that they remade that game.
Which, by the way, like if they ported those 3DS versions of Fire Emblem over, you better just. I'm gonna have to sell a lung and a kidney, and
Yeah, it's like taking my money, because Fire Emblem honestly was where I went after there was no more Advance Wars games.
They could definitely do a collection, do a collection of those kind of games,
or like they could sell them. They could sell them. I mean,
like
look, it's Nintendo
for like three.
It's Nintendo. They're gonna sell them for $60. But like you could you could sell Fates with all the DLC. There's a lot of DLC for Fates besides just the different paths. There was a lot of DLC for Fates. You could sell that in the DLC. You could sell Valencia in the DLC. You could sell Awakening in its DLC for like $60. I feel like and Nintendo fans would eat it up. Am I saying it's right? No.
And I gotta add the Pokemon games, because Gold and Silver got was it Gold and Silver that got remade, or was it?
I guarantee you that Gold and Silver are getting Let's Go versions this year. That's my big prediction next year. I would say.
And in all honesty, it's always about Nintendo feeling safe. They know Mario will sell, which is why they have no problems beating their old Mario games to a dead horse. But they need to they need to step out of that safety, that comfort zone they have sometimes. Because I mean, they'll clobber us with Mario games, Mario games that we've already played. They'll clobber us with Pokemon games that we've already played. They'll even clobber us with some random Zelda titles. I mean, Ocarina of Time. How many times are we gonna get that remade? It wasn't even my favorite one.
I mean, it's only been remade once for 3DS, but it's been on almost every virtual console.
And Jesse, like, even though Call of Duty, this Modern Warfare is a new version of it, I think if they remade the older versions in the Modern Warfare graphics now, I think that would be so much better. Like, I would be like,
isn't that what they did with the remasters? Didn't they?
Modern Warfare 1 and 2 got remastered.
Yeah.
But the whole game got the graphics of the new Modern Warfare game.
I think they did get new graphics. I think they just put it.
It wasn't just like
it's like what they did with. It's like what they did with the Halo 1 and 2. It's the new graphics on top of the old engine, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know they're not like the new graphics, but they got a.
That's what I was asking for.
Yeah, it got a new coat of paint though. Soap's mustache is pretty HD.
Yeah, but once again, we go back to modernization. Final Fantasy VII remake modernization of the game. Yeah. What's some other ones that came out that were basically modernizations of the games? Final Fantasy VII seems to be the only one I can seem to think of. Icon Shadow of the Colossus, the collection, that was that was kind of a remaster, but also
the Shadow of the Colossus did get remade though.
Yeah, because Bluepoint did that.
Resident Evil. The Crash and Spyro games.
Oh yeah. Resident Evil 2 and 3. Those are modernizations of those games. Because can you imagine?
Link's Awakening.
Wait, which Link's Awakening?
The one for Switch. They totally remade from the ground up.
Yeah.
Wait. Link's oh wow.
The Game Boy. One.
I don't know why I was thinking Link to the Past.
Dude, I do that. I do that every time.
Oh, I'm still waiting for Link to the Past to get remade because I will.
They don't need to remake that game. If they do remake that game, remake it like Four Swords.
After
playing between Link Between Worlds, I was just like, I need this remake.
I bet we'll get a Link's or a Link to the Past remake that includes a Link Between Worlds in it, and you'll get them as a bundle.
Yeah.
I bet you'll get that.
If Nintendo do a whole bunch of collections next year for their 35th anniversary,
they're going to because Corona's not going to let them make anything else.
You already know, Corey, that I'm willing to be like, yep, I'm gonna be at GameStop or Best Buy pre-ordering this one, and then I'll buy the digital version. So
that's the thing.
What's been the newest word on the Metroid Prime trilogy? Are they just bundling it and recollecting it, or are they actually reworking some of the assets?
The rumor is they're making them all HD. They're redoing some of the asset work, and they're making the 3 won't require motion controls.
Okay, well that's probably enough for me to bite. On this time.
That's the rumor, because like that game actually looks pretty good already.
It does.
If you put a new coat of paint on it, like if you played Twilight Princess HD, they redid a lot of the asset work. They had new character models in there for characters that looked rough. The levels and stuff, they cleaned up the textures. Some of the stuff you can actually tell is like, okay, this was where they put the shortcuts in right here. But the character models and stuff actually looked really good. I actually wouldn't mind seeing another Zelda in that art style at some point. But the Metroid HD collection is supposedly 1080p, 60 frames a second. You'll be able to, play all 3 games in HD, and I bet they're holding that for next year.
I want to see,
because it is Metroid 35 next year, along with Zelda.
I want to see Metroid in 60 frames per second on how crazy that's going to be in the Prime game.
I'm telling you, next year is going to be alternating between Zelda remakes / remasters, Metroid Zelda remakes and remasters.
Which I want Wind Waker.
Then they're going to cap the year off with Bayonetta 3 and Breath of the Wild 2 next holiday.
It's all starting to fall into place now, because this whole 6-month thing that they have right now with the limited edition Mario 3D game.
Yeah.
I feel like this is it. Like, we're gonna get 6 months of Mario, 6 months of Zelda, 6 months of Metroid. Yeah. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Well, it's weird
Corey,
because
go get the last word, because we want to move on to the next one after. Go ahead.
Well, just let me talk.
Yeah.
I said you got the last word.
I know, but he was talking. Just let him finish, and then say it.
and then just transition naturally.
Yeah, Kanye.
Come on, Ed.
Oh,
Don't Taylor Swift me here, Ed. What I was saying was like Pikmin. I think Pikmin 3 was clearly supposed to be a summer game, and then when COVID happened and Animal Crossing took off, it allowed Nintendo to take their time, and like Pikmin and the Mario 3D stuff were clearly supposed to be like midsummer and end of summer stuff, and then moving into the fall, I think Mario 3D World was supposed to be like positioned as their whatever holiday title with like Pokemon Snap that was announced and like maybe one other smaller title to go with it, right? And next year they were gonna have all their huge heavy hitters with. I still think Mario Odyssey 2 is happening next year, to be honest with you, because it's been 5 years next year, right? 4 years.
Wait, Mario Odyssey's been out that long?
4 years.
Wait, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Wait, how long? Okay, I was about to.
It's been 3 years. Next year will be 4 years, right? Like I still think that. Yeah. I still think that that's coming at some point. And then all these remasters that have been rumored for so long. The Metroid remaster has been rumored for so long. Pikmin 4 was announced for Wii U, and we haven't heard anything since 2017 about that. And like, Bayonetta 3 is still in development. You have Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is still in development for Switch. You have all of these remasters that have been rumored. I just think 2021 is going to be, you're going to have
every Monster Hunter game.
Yeah, the new Monster Hunter game has been rumored, right? And
if that's happening.
Shoot.
And like,
I wonder.
Mario plus Rabbids 2 has been rumored for a long time. Like
wait, they're making a sequel to that?
It's been rumored for a while.
Because I was like, man, I was like, wow, this is Final Fantasy Tactics in the Mario universe. Yes.
And I think we'll get Dragon Quest 12 announced for next year.
I don't. No, it's only been out for 13. Like 2 years. It's 12, and they said 12. They just started development on it this year. So good luck with that. But I just think next year for Switch, you're going to get a new Switch exclusive or remake or remaster every 3 to 5 weeks. The way that 2017 hit, like where you got a game every month from Nintendo, you're going to next year's going to happen.
The question is though, are those games going to have multiple versions? One that plays on the regular Switch, and then one that plays 4K.
I think.
Oh, the Pro version.
I think that.
I think that Nintendo's. I think it's going to be a 3DS situation where, like, okay, these games clearly run better on the Pro version, but you can still enjoy them on the. And then maybe, like a game like Monster Hunter would be like you can only play this on the new Switch, because like I feel like.
That's the other thing that's always bothered me about Nintendo. They basically kneecap the experience for people. Like, for example, the Switch Lite, it's a wonderful idea, but you closed off some of your library in the process.
Yeah, like 1-2 Switch, Mario Party, like the games that only require the Joy-Cons and you can't play with the Pro Controller. Like that. Yeah, that was like a.
They need to stop making decisions like that. Seriously.
Here's the thing: you can get rid of the Joy-Cons. And I think everybody would be happy. You can just make games without the Joy-Cons. You can just leave them controllers attached to the console. I'd be totally happy.
Whoa. There's some days playing that thing undocked is like gaudy.
Well, I think you can't do that now because of Ring Fit Adventure. So,
you can still use the Joy-Cons. They still sync up to the system.
I feel like Ring Fit Adventure is a limited thing too. Like, I'm waiting for it to get the same treatment. I mean, I'm going to buy one. I was planning on buying one. I just haven't jumped ship and put the money down yet. But I feel like it's going to be just as niche as the Wii Fit was.
Well, shoot, with quarantine, the mug was hard to find. They were selling
one of Nintendo's best-selling things this year is Ring Fit Adventure. So.
But we're gonna move on because we got the last mini boss talk point, and then we're gonna get into our Boss Rush podcast analysis. Mario Kart Live, no, it isn't a musical or a return of the Super Mario TV show. How does that Nintendo magic work on turning us into kids? Because me and Jesse, I tell you, I when I see this, I was like, "What is this?" And I told Jesse that I wasn't gonna get it because my house is kind of full of with carpet, and stuff like that just don't work well on carpets. But it's something that I will get my nephew for Christmas and like go with his house and play with him and everything. Jesse, I know you talking about playing with the kids and everything, but what is it? What is it about this that we just probably seen? And sometimes there's something about Nintendo games that we watch and it just turns us into kids.
Well, I think it's, like it goes back to that, like when you're a kid and we had to imagine everything. We had to imagine everything. You had to, you would set up your little, like your little tracks or whatever of, of basically things for cars and stuff and use your imagination. But like this, like gives you that ability to create these tracks, but actually play them in the game and not have to just use your imagination. And like it just looks so cool. Like, like as you're driving in the game that you're actually seeing like in the background, it's your house. And like, like they show them like setting up cups and stuff along the sides of where the track is, and just like being able to set up things that you can go underneath and like kind of create your own Mario Kart level in your house is just like probably just like one of the coolest experiences when as far as when it comes to racing games. Like to just be able to do that in your house is just such a cool idea.
I think this is one of the most genius things Nintendo could have even thought about doing, especially in this particular console cycle. But then again, if you think about it, though, Nintendo's been pushing AR since way back when the DS Lite came out. I remember unboxing my DS Lite and I was like, "What are these cards?" And then it was like, "Oh, point them at your camera and crazy stuff happens." And Nintendo has been doing this AR thing for a long time, and I want to say they've been trying it way back when with the Virtual Boy. Remember that?
Ooh,
yeah.
It's starting to come full realization now, and the fact that it's happening on the Switch is great. In my opinion, when I saw the Mario Kart Live thing, I was like, man, I kind of want one, but what am I gonna do with it? Because it's like for me, it's like when everyone's talking about the Game & Watch was going to be the collector's item, I'm sitting here thinking the Mario Kart Live is going to be the collector's item, at least as far as I go, because I'm going to buy this stuff. It's probably never going to see the light of day. It's never going to leave the box, but I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for stuff like that because I went out and bought every single Monster Hunter Stories amiibo. And I think amiibos are like the world's most giant gimmick. But I bought all 7 of those suckers.
Shoot, I'm still buying the amiibo.
Yeah, the only thing so far that I think we've got confirmation. I mean, we haven't gotten official confirmation that I know of. But it seemed to be the situation just by watching this video. I do not like is that you have to have 2 Switches in order to be able to play 2-player. I don't get why they couldn't have just did like where you have the 2-player split screen on the TV, and you can then have both, have 2 cars and be just seeing, like what, each car is on each screen.
Well, actually, I feel like that goes back to the whole problem with Nintendo when they made the Switch a portable device. Because if you remember all the promo ads when the Switch was coming out, it was all about taking it out of your living room and going and sitting next to somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And it's basically the evolved version of the 3DS.
And that's why I say when we were talking about the online stuff, that Nintendo still thinks that local play is still important to them. This is kind of the example of it. Like,
but I mean, this is still local play.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that they focus more on local play, and if you want online, if it was there,
I don't know. I just feel like honestly, like it seems like every single game that Switches came out with recently has been amazing, but there's just like one little tiny thing that just stops it from being a perfect game.
I really wonder if people, cause see what Nintendo started you basic, but know how creative people gonna get. They're gonna turn this thing into like a Hot Wheels, kind of track or idea.
Here's my thing about it, and I hate this because a lot of times when it comes to Nintendo, I'm more right than I am wrong. This is something that's going to be a thing for like a year, maybe a year and a half, and then it's going to go by the wayside. Especially if right now they can't even confirm that there's going to be more than just 2 cars, a Mario and a Luigi car. Like it's going to get stale fast.
I think it's going to be like Toad and not Toad, Princess Peach and Bowser, because it may be there.
Well, what I'm saying is, when you think about Mario Kart and like how expansive Mario Kart can get, like people are going to have that same expectation eventually with this, and then it's going to get a little problematic, and then Nintendo's going to run into problems trying to figure out logistics and how to make it all work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they could negate some of that stuff by just literally making it where you can pick, even though you've got a Mario Kart, you could pick which character you're playing as, because on the game you're seeing an animated version of the character, in the car anyways. So I could see them negating that, or by just basically allowing you eventually to pick whoever you want, and then they would just look like they're inside the cart. You'd still see the front of the actual Mario Kart that you're driving in your house, but it's still, I still think it would be better than not being able to pick at all. So I don't know.
Also the track configurations, are those pre-made, or will you be able to designate how you want the tracks?
I think you designate how you want to make
the way they did it is they pour like a paint on your wheels, and then wherever you decide you want to drive in between, going under each pillar thing, that will all be kept track of. And then once you go through the final one, it will finalize it. So however you drove when you were going through all the different ones,
we'll turn it into the virtual track where all the other players have to conform to it.
Yeah. Did I take you back? Did I take you back with the Super Mario TV, Super Mario Brothers show? I love that show.
Yeah.
So
Super Sunday show or whatever it was.
Wait, wasn't only like 11 episodes of that though, like all together until they revamped it?
Yeah, because they did that with the Legend of Zelda. Then they took the Zelda ones out, and then they took the live portion out, and then with Captain Lou and stuff, and then they just made it the cartoon.
But man, those PSA. That PSA that they did about like drugs and stuff, dude, that is one of the weirdest, like most messed up things ever.
Especially when you got these guys eating mushrooms.
Exactly. Well, everybody, we're going to get into our BRP analysis, and I kind of want to ask you guys, what measure of social issues can gamers handle? And the example of it is Columbine RPG. A lot of people were really upset about that, how this game was developed on this take of the Columbine High School or the Columbine shooting. But then you got Mafia 3, which is kind of not a racially charged game, but it deals with racial tones and how black people were treated in the 60s and how they were talked about and stuff. What kind of issues do you think us as gamers can handle? Do you think we can handle Columbine RPG nowadays, or still it's not something that we want to touch? Or does games like Mafia 3 still is the way that we as gamers want to accept things like that?
If you don't mind, I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the thing is with the whole Columbine stuff, like, I'm all about people having freedom to kind of make whatever kind of games they want and stuff. But I think because ultimately we don't have to buy them, we don't have to play them if we don't like what they're doing, right? But like personally, like I just I don't get like the whole Columbine game. Like I just don't think that there's any need to bring any kind of recognition to the guys who did that. Like like we always hear all the time, like like if some of these people like they get what they want once they've become these thing in the media that everyone talks about.
Yeah, when they become immortalized.
Yeah, we give them the attention, and that's what they wanted. And so for us to just not give them a name or do things like that is a way to say, hey, like what you did was awful, and we don't care about you. You're basically a piece of S, and we don't even we don't want to give you any more attention than we absolutely have to. And to make something like that Columbine game, in my opinion, is giving them way too much attention that they do not deserve. Like, but again, like people can make a game however they want, but we just we got to speak with our don't buy it. Don't.
And the Caliban RPG wasn't a game that you could buy. It was going to be presented in an indie competition, and they denied it and stuff. And I think it was because I think it was still fresh after the shooting happened, and when they were trying to insert it in, but I mean, because there was controversial
games like that. That people have made for free and whatever, those kinds of things have been around forever. Like I told you a long time ago, I'll never forget the first time that like I really first got into playing emulators and ROMs and stuff like that in school. And the day that I was like, what the heck is this? And it was Super Mario World or Super Mario 2. But the whole game is you're playing as a KKK member.
I remember that.
Instead of picking radishes out of the ground, you're picking black babies out of the ground, throwing them at the enemy.
I remember.
And I'm like,
there was
someone F is this?
Someone that modded on PC.
Yeah, just they made it like that was it was just they basically made their own game like where you're playing as a KKK member throwing black babies at things. It's like that. It's messed up and like like you just gotta be like, what the hell, and just ignore it and don't play it. Like like people are gonna make stupid things. Stop that.
That is the best way to sum that one up.
I've never seen that one.
What? Really? Oh wow. Okay. Okay. The stuff like the Columbine RPG, I feel like that's a little way too close to home, because in all seriousness, like, and not to get all uber political and stuff like that, our lawmakers can't even figure out what they're going to do to make kids safe in schools. But like we have situations where like I don't even know what the angle that they're coming back with Columbine RPG. Anybody know what the premise was of the game? Were you actually build? Oh, go ahead.
So you played as the two shooters, and
you were in their roles.
Mm-hmm. You were in their roles, and you were killing people like they were enemies, like because it was a take on Earthbound or Phantasy Star, and the kids were enemies, and you would just shoot them and kill them. And when you got to the end. Or part of it, the way that they went out and they die, and then they end up in hell, and then you play the game from them going into hell and going on. But it was the premise of you grinding, and you fighting by killing the kids or killing the students.
What in the world? Who thought that was even a good idea? First of all, I'm talking about I'm talking about just the basis of the game, not the whole Columbine angle. Who thought that was even a good idea?
There's Wikipedia talks about it, the history of it and everything.
Because I
know I did it.
I remember hearing about this Columbine RPG game, but I thought it was like because it came out around the whole April Fool's time, so I was like, "Oh, we're getting punked," and I just moved on. I never even looked into it.
No, there's actual video of it. I think there is a playthrough of it too. Yeah, because they talk about it on why this game was kind of made, and just like you said, Jesse, because now we see that games are protected by the Constitution. I think under the First Amendment, I believe. And you know, even with hatred, how that game came out and everything, and how controversial that is. But then we look back at the airport level of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it stirred up sales, it stirred up some controversy, but it didn't make it because it wasn't really connected to anything in real life. We as gamers just thought it was just a level to progress through, and it's a story part. And then we moved on, and we don't think about that.
All right. To answer the overall question about what measure social issues can gamers handle, here's the way I figure about it. Because I deal heavily in social media. Like, folks know I have a very good social media presence, long before I even dropped off of Facebook. And I'm also a gamer. I'm in that sphere of influence and stuff like that. Basically, whenever we're using history, and I'm not talking about Columbine, because Columbine technically is history, but that's like a dark page from history that nothing should be glorified. Just like the Boston Marathon bombing should not be glorified, 9/11 shouldn't be glorified. And I'm saying glorified, and that's probably extreme. What I'm really saying is reenacted. Stuff like that, things like that should not be reenacted. But what was the military game? Was it
Days of Fallujah? Fall of Fallujah, yeah.
Now here's something right there that I think that game caught a lot of flack, and it wound up getting canceled and stuff like that. But that's one of those historic things that gamers can handle, because in all seriousness, like, a lot of gamers at the end of the day, like, we're faced with political stuff all the time in our gaming environment, stuff like that. That thing right there could have honestly helped out with people realizing, hey, I don't need to be xenophobic to understand like what patriotism is about. I don't need to be this, to understand like what the military is about. As a former veteran and stuff like that, I feel like that could have been a good tool to help people understand that, hey, like, you want to go to war and do things like this, there are consequences, and you got to think about everything in the full 360-degree sphere of what you're in. Social issues like that, yeah, gamers can handle that. Social issues such as, like, you remember when Bully was coming out and they swore that was going to be the Columbine game,
and it wasn't.
It was nothing like that. Things like that. Ultimately, I don't think it's the gamers that honestly have the problem with it. I think it's the other people who consider themselves not to be gamers or don't understand what this whole video gaming thing is about in most degrees. And a lot of times I can agree with them, especially when you look at Columbine RPG and stuff like that. But there's other things that, like, some people are never going to be able to experience some of this stuff in real life. And these situations like Mafia 3, for example, like, this is right out of history. Like, I mean, like, segregation and all that stuff, that was a thing that happened. We still have people living in this day and age that lived through the civil rights era. And I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about people of every walk of life. Just like it's like we have Asian American people who have been disenfranchised and affected by stuff from World War II, and they're still living. They're still living. Things like that. Like right now, like, we have people attacking Asian American citizens because there's rhetoric that the coronavirus was a viral weapon from Japan. And China, from China. I'm sorry, stuff like that. So these are things that definitely that will help people learn and figure things out, and also make them realize that, hey, at the end of the day, like, if no one's talking about it, we're never gonna figure it out. But Columbine RPG, no.
And LeRon, I was talking to you about Horizon before you jumped into how I was talking about diversity and how that's handled. And I was telling you about me and Corey's Pilot Play, how we talked about diversity and how that kind of showed you different social issues that is the relatable part of those social issues to some gamers and people on the outside. If they see it, they can see the themes and notice stuff like that, even though that whole game was to focus on that particular kind of issue.
Here's
or the
here's
Switch
what
at
here's what I'll say. If video games want to do stuff like this, and like I don't know why I keep circling on Columbine, but if video games want to do stuff like that, like they need to do it the same. They need to run it the same way that movies and TV shows handle it. They need to make it a documentary, not some crazy off the wall. Because like, okay, yeah, you definitely lost me. You said they go to hell. I was like, well. Yeah. Well, I mean,
that was
anybody who's religious knows those guys went to hell,
right? And that's what didn't get covered when that thing was announced, and you'll see it in the playthrough if people want to go see it. Is that they were continuing on from that part of what they assume actually happened.
It's still off the wall.
Yeah, because I talk about Papa and Yo from, I think that's the name of it, for PlayStation 3, how the game was designed from the developer, how he was talking about how he had to deal with his dad's alcohol abuse and alcoholism, and he created a world based on that. And if people kind of, or even a dragon named Cancer, even though it's not social issues, it's a mental issue that people are dealing with, and that's part of social issues, because if your mental health is affected, it affects your social aspect of living life.
Isn't it Celeste? Isn't Celeste the game where like you're technically running from the person that's victimizing you? Was that the game, or is it a different game?
It was the one from Microsoft, with the rewind time one.
Yeah, I always get that one confused with Celeste.
Braid.
Who?
Braid. Oh, Braid.
Yes.
Braid. Yeah, Braid. Yeah, where it took the whole Mario aspect, but it turned it around that you think you're trying to save her, but in reality she's running from you because you're a stalker. Yeah.
That's
I
so
love
creepy.
that game so much. I love that game so much. When you find that out, you're just like, what the dude? It's such a great
He just said, I can't.
It's just such a great game when you have that realization.
But
honestly, gamers are more resilient. Gamers are more resilient than anybody wants to give us credit for and stuff like that. And like we understand real fast when a game is just trying to sensationalize, and when a game is actually trying to hit the nail on the head about real life topics and stuff like that. It's the reason why a lot of these games actually sell well. I mean, there's an underlying message to all those GTA games. There's an underlying message to freaking Donkey Kong. There's an underlying message there, but it's all about how well you grasp it and how well you as an outsider can see it.
And and like back to the whole, when you're just taking something that's is offensive or whatever, and you're doing it just to get the attention, because that sometimes that attention can sell. Unfortunately, but that's the thing it's got to be more than just that. It's got to actually be doing something that meaningful, or that you're learning something in the game. And I think that's the difference between a game doing something that might be controversial, in a good way or in the right way, and doing it the wrong way. If you're not learning something, or you're not, it's not showing you some form of whether it be what depression or something can cause, or things like that, or tell me why we have now where it's kind of focusing on transgender, like the what kind of things that you might have to face as a transgender person, like doing stuff that might sometimes seem controversial, but there's a deeper story or meaning to what's going on, is important.
And that comes into the narrative over the gameplay. Your gameplay is always going to just hit different ways. Sometimes gameplay can turn a person off, but if the narrative is strong and it's trying to sometimes deliver a message or try to present itself in a way that if you could recognize some of these things that's in this narrative, you may be able to understand why this has happened. That's why I feel like when we even make a moral choice in Mass Effect or make moral choices in games like that allow us to do it, it kind of shows what we think about social issues and think of how we go about how we would make decisions if we was in that kind of setting. So go ahead, LeRon.
No, I was just thinking anyone that makes the moral choice to save Caden over Ashley made the correct choice in Mass Effect. Because I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. I'm sorry.
I killed her only because I wanted to romance the other guy.
Okay, see, that's a morally wrong decision.
but it just side note, everybody, we're playing Mass Effect 1 for our book club for this month, so you guys can jump in. Also, we are doing the history of Mass Effect for next month. So if you guys want to play the full trilogy, I invite you.
Who's running that one?
I'm running that one.
Okay. I was about to say, don't say me.
You're hosting the Monster Hunter one.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I was about to say, I know I have this Mass Effect project going on, but
who's on that show? I think it's you. It's Ed. It's you, LeRon, MJ, and probably Joe, right?
Yeah, Joe. I thought you was partaking.
Well,
also.
I think 5 people's too many, so I'll probably just produce it. You know what I mean? Like, I love Mass Effect as much as the next guy, but I would rather produce the show and make it the best looking show it can be than try to cram 5 people in there. You know?
Okay. All right. Yes.
Have all those assets that Logan's been building for us in there and everything. make us look like a CNN panel.
Because next year is the history of Zelda, and that one's going. I told Celeste, I'm like, this is going.
Oh, I'm on that one for sure. I won't skip that one.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
I would love to be on the Zelda one, but my Zelda history is so bad. Like anything after Link to the Past, I really can't help out.
Jesse, I had to find one for you. Which one you want to do a history of? Because
because as much as I'd like to do Zelda, I honestly did not care about Zelda up until Ocarina of Time. So I'm one of those people.
Ocarina of Time is where they lost me.
Yeah. I liked the 3D stuff.
Yeah, because
once it went to 3D, I just my ADD brain just got so bored with the whole like old school Zelda stuff. I just could not do it. I could not pay attention to it.
We would find one because I think the Call of Duty one would be a nice history one to go through. But goodness, there's a whole bunch of games I gotta.
What's the current book club that's going on right now? Is it also Mass Effect?
Yeah, it's Mass Effect 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but for the discussion, if anybody want to watch it, play all 3 games, because we're doing that one. And if we want to mention Andromeda, we can. Because I got Gone Home this month for Talk the Walk, and then Soma is for next month. Of Resident Evil.
We gotta talk about this book club thing because like now with so many people involved in this, we gotta maybe like push some stuff back or reschedule some ones that are already up and like you know what I mean. Like it's just so meh.
Well, I said in the chat that I honestly think I might have to just dip out altogether because I can't guarantee that I'm gonna have the time to finish these games. I still haven't even gotten a chance to get back to trying to play more of Okami. Like I'm still like
it took me.
Why'd you admit that on the podcast right now? Why'd you admit that?
It took me.
I saw real with people.
I saw Ed's eyebrow twitch as soon as you said that.
It took me 3 weeks to beat Tomb Raider, and that's a 12-hour game.
Like, yeah, because I'd be Tomb Raider like in 3 days. I'm
I
like,
know.
what is this shit? Yeah, because all we have left is Resident Evil 2 and 3 for next month. We got Iconoclast for November, and then we got Community for December, and then we start all over in January.
I'm gonna start.
I honestly think you just do Resident Evil 2. Don't even bother with 3 because 2 is the 2 is the superior.
Even your cat has objections to that right now.
Hey, I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and I'm willing to admit I haven't even finished the third one yet. And I bought it like how long ago?
I'll be in the minority because I actually enjoyed Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3 was actually my favorite of the two when they were on PS1. So I mean, I actually enjoyed the remake, and some of the content that was cutting it, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, who the hell wants to fight that worm 3 times?
I still think Code Veronica should have came out first before 2 and 3. I think that one.
Well, I think the natural progression now before they remake 4 is Code Veronica.
Veronica, yeah.
I think because like you just remake them in order, right? Like I mean, I feel like that's the natural thing to do.
Well, I feel like up until before Resident Evil 2 remake came out, the Code Veronica was more modernized than Resident Evil 2 and 3 were. So I feel like Resident Evil 2 and 3 getting remastered and remade was the right decision. But now they're about to skip over and just go straight to 4, and that's like no, because there's more storyline in Code Veronica. Code Veronica basically finishes up the whole, in my opinion, Raccoon City Chronicles.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Was the release? Was it 2, 3 Code Veronica, and then 3 for 4. Dreamcast?
Yes.
And then 4? Okay. So that may have been a confusion with me because I thought Code Veronica came out before Resident Evil 3, and I think it's because I played both of those on Dreamcast.
A lot of people still swear that 3 is the spinoff game and Code Veronica is the proper 3.
Yeah, I love Code Veronica.
Because Code Veronica was a great game.
Such a great game.
It was like a contractual thing though with PlayStation at the time because like they were promised 3 numbered Resident Evil games before, but they wanted to use the tech of the Dreamcast, so they had made Code Veronica the Dreamcast game, and then 3 was the other PlayStation game. So
okay, because I was wondering about it because I know. Because 2 and 3 supposed to be run at the same time? I think you told me.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, if you look at the way the timeline goes, Jill actually starts her thing in Resident Evil 3 right before Leon and Claire show up in Raccoon City for Resident Evil 2. So technically, if you play the games chronologically, technically you're supposed to start Resident Evil 3 all the way up to the clock tower. Then after Clock Tower happens, you start Resident Evil 2, and you play the entire scenario. And then as soon as you beat Resident Evil 2, you finish Resident Evil 3, and everybody's gotten out of the city before the nuke goes off at that point.
It's funny because on like the Xbox, I don't know how it is on PSN, but the Xbox store actually has like it's called the Raccoon City Collection, where they actually sell all of them together. Well, it's like 2, 3, and then whatever the multiplayer thing they spun off with together.
Because in number wise, Resident Evil 0, that was the N64 version. Resident Evil 1, which is the PlayStation.
Resident Evil
0 is GameCube. 0 and remake.
Yeah. Okay. So because and they were supposed to be doing it for N64, and then they moved it to GameCube. That's right. So GameCube was Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil 1, PlayStation, Resident Evil 2, PlayStation, Resident Evil 3, PlayStation, Resident Evil 4, GameCube, Resident Evil 5, PS3, 360, Resident Evil 6, PS3, 360. I'm just talking about the original ones. Resident Evil 7, Xbox, Xbox One, PS4, and I think PC, or PC came out later.
They all came out at the same time.
And then now we have Resident Evil 8 right now for PlayStation 5, which will probably also be on Series X.
They're gonna
Village.
It's gonna be a multi-release. I mean, there's no way they're gonna.
they're tricking it because they're saying Village is not actual 8, but I'm just like, no,
What?
you did the
It
color.
is. They did the same thing they did with 7.
Mm-hmm.
That
They
had to be
saying-
a translation thing.
It had to be because I was just like, no, because when they did Village and they had the color, it showed 8. So I'm just like, there's no way that this is not 8, and y'all trying to fudge the wording. Nah.
Yeah, like
Resident
yeah,
Evil Village is recognized by Capcom as the 8th main game in the series.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it was.
This is on
Yeah, because
Capcom.com.
the title card,
Or
the
dot-
title card, they had everything. It was RV11 111. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
in the title card.
Yeah, because I was just like, because you probably right, Corey, because I think they ended up changing the thing.
Well, I
because they were just
literally
like,
read
no,
it off of Capcom's website, so I'm right. So if if I'm
after
wrong,
the
then
trailer-
Capcom's wrong. That's all I have to say.
After the trailer, when they showed it, they said that it wasn't 8, but then I guess they changed their wording now for it. It was
Also,
very
Chris
weird.
Redfield looks like, the Browns could probably sign him to a contract and be better.
Yeah, he's been a bunch of donuts since whatever happened in RE6.
He's still a hot daddy though. So we're gonna end
jeez.
this right now. But thank you guys, everybody. I want to kind of know what you guys think about social issues in video games. Can you guys handle them? Was Columbine RPG too much or Mafia 3 too much? How do you take about it? You can email the show at bossrushgamespro@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at bossrushpodcast. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
LeRon, where can we find you?
Practically anywhere as EXODUS 803, Exodus 803.
And check out Crossroads live on Tuesdays recording, and also check out Crossroads that drop on Thursdays for the recorded show. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram, and pretty much wherever you want to find me, you can find me there.
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBridgerCode. Check out Option Opinion on SoundCloud, and also check out World 11 Podcast on Podbean.com. We got more shows coming up, you guys. We got a lot of discussions that's going to be happening. So do hit that follow, the subscribe button on Twitch and on our YouTube page. Review us on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you find podcasts for Boss Rush at in all our shows. Have a great day.
I want to say one
go
thing
ahead,
before you end, Ed. Comments are now activated on our website, so if you have a comment about this episode, if this is where you're watching it, you can leave a comment below there as well as YouTube. So just want to throw that out there.
And of course, if you ever think I've said something that needs bigger discussion, you can always at me on social media at Twitter, Exodus803. So there you go.
Oh, one more thing. Our Tony Hawk review is up from Logan, so you can go read that too.
Nice.
Yes. All right.
He says it's
All
a
right.
masterpiece of a remaster. So
From what I've played so far, it seems
All right, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And as always, just continue to play video games and be better to one another. With that, we will see you next time on Boss Rush Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.